The defendant indicated to detectives that he was infuriated because he said that Geraldina was taking his money, and he admitted that he shot Geraldina in the back of the head.
It began like any other Friday in Reading, Pennsylvania, a working-class city lined with row homes, corner stores, and quiet neighborhoods where families chased small dreams. But on September 12, 2025, that peace shattered forever.
Standing off East Huller Lane, you can see crime scene tape still marks the spot here where investigators were searching and where they ultimately found the body of a 31-year-old.
Geraldina Peguero-Mancebo was just 31, a devoted mother, a woman juggling love, motherhood, and the promise of stability. She lived with her husband, Junior Cabrera-Colon, also 31, and their bright-eyed 1-year-old son, Jeyden Junior. They had just moved from Dominican Republic to the States for a better life. They were young, hopeful, and building a life together, but beneath the surface, someone else had plans that would end it all. That man was Jose Luis Rodriguez, 61 years old, a man who had become dangerously entangled in Geraldina's life.
Adams says Rodriguez then grabbed the toddler and took him to a shallow, murky pond nearby, tossed him into the water, and simply walked away.
The defendant confirmed that Jeyden was alive when he threw him face down in the muddy water.
He wasn't just an acquaintance. He had helped her financially, even co-signed her lease. He was said to be a family friend.
Gotta be careful with the people you let in your house.
Unfortunately, he was having a type of romantic affair with Geraldina. But as the months passed, his generosity turned into obsession. He wanted her all to himself. He told her to end the relationship with her husband and stick to just him as earlier promised, but when she refused to leave her husband, that rejection ignited something dark. On that September evening, Geraldina and baby Jeyden were seen leaving home. Neighbors recalled her getting into a car, the one belonging to Jose Rodriguez. They didn't know it then, but it would be the last time anyone would ever see her alive. Hours later, Junior Cabrera-Colon vanished too. His phone went silent. He missed work. Family members grew worried and declared them missing, but by the time they started calling around, it was already too late. The next morning, a patrol officer driving near Bear Park spotted something unusual in the brush off River Road. When police approached, they made a grim discovery: the body of a man, later identified as Junior Cabrera-Colon. He had been shot once in the back of the head. Detectives quickly realized something even more chilling: Geraldina and her baby were missing.
Officials tell us that the victims were last seen in this apartment complex here in Reading where they lived. We spoke to their family in Dominican Republic. They tell us that they knew that something was terribly wrong when they could not get a hold of them for days.
We spent 9 days literally doing every type of research. We thought they were missing, like my cousin might be scared.
The family of 3 had simply disappeared, 2 unaccounted for, 1 already dead. For days, investigators scoured Reading and nearby Ontolani Township. They followed phone records, security footage, and vehicle traces. All evidence pointed to one person, Jose Luis Rodriguez. He was the last to be seen with Geraldina and her son. When officers brought him in for questioning, his composure began to crumble. Soon after, the horrific truth started to unfold. Jose Rodriguez confessed, calmly, chillingly, as though the weight of 3 lives meant nothing. He admitted he had picked up Geraldina and her son that night, driving them out to a remote, swampy area near East Huller Lane in Ontolani Township. There, under the cover of darkness, he confronted her about refusing to leave her husband. When she rejected him again, he raised a gun and shot her once in the back of the head. Her body collapsed in the mud, a mother gone in an instant, her 1-year-old son still strapped in his seat nearby, crying. Then came the most heartbreaking part of all. Rodriguez told detectives he took the baby from the car, carried him toward the marsh, and placed him face down into the muddy water. The child was alive, struggling, gasping, until he wasn't. He left them there, discarded like secrets, before driving away. A week later, search teams combing the rural field near Ontolani Township found Geraldina's body lying in the grass. She had been shot in the back of the head. Just a day later, little Jeyden was found about 150 yards away, his tiny body partially submerged in swamp water, still clothed in the outfit his mother had dressed him in that morning. It was every investigator's nightmare. The missing mother and child weren't missing anymore. They were gone.
Horrific new details from the death of a Berks County couple and their one-year-old son. Today, authorities revealed that they were all allegedly murdered by the same man and in apparent jealous rage. The victims' bodies found in different locations across the county over the course of 1 week. It is Monday afternoon. I'm Brian Taff.
This story is hard to believe. I'm Tamala Edwardson for Sarah. And the big story on Action News is this update today and the tragic murders of 3 family members. Authorities say the mother and father were shot on different days in separate locations. The young boy was then allegedly tossed into a muddy swamp and left to die.
As we said, the details are difficult to hear. Action News reporter Walter Perez live in Reading this afternoon with the update. Walter.
Well, Brian and Tam, every now and then we report on a story involving acts of cruelty that simply take your breath away. This is one. Investigators in Berks County now say that one of the victims, 31-year-old Geraldina Peguero-Mancebo, was involved in some kind of relationship with the suspect, 61-year-old Jose Rodriguez. Apparently, that relationship led to a misunderstanding that sent Rodriguez into a rage a bit more than 2 weeks ago.
The defendant indicated to detectives that he was infuriated because he said that Geraldina was taking his money, and he admitted that he shot Geraldina in the back of the head.
Berks County DA John Adams says that shooting occurred in Ontolani Township as Geraldina was holding her 1-year-old son Jeyden. But Adams says the suspect's rampage was not over yet. The next day, he met up with Geraldina's husband, Junior Cabrera-Colon, in Reading, shot him in the back of the head, and then dumped his body in this nearby park. Investigators say Rodriguez has since confessed to all 3 murders. The district attorney says he has prosecuted a long list of horrific crimes over the years.
Police pieced together what led to this unimaginable crime. Jose Rodriguez had become infatuated with Geraldina, controlling, jealous, and possessive. He was reportedly furious that she wouldn't leave her husband, and claimed she had taken advantage of him financially. That anger festered into something far worse, resentment so deep that it drove him to plan and execute 3 killings in less than 2 days. He shot the husband out of envy. He killed the wife out of rejection. And the baby? Out of cruelty, to erase the last piece of the life she had chosen over him. He was arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, and related crimes. Police held a briefing and explained in details how it all happened plus his charges.
Here today to announce additional murder charges which were filed this morning against Jose Luis Rodriguez. I think that we will need to address the fact that he was originally charged with murder on September 19th, as I recall, and was in jail. And we filed the additional murder charges this morning against Mr. Rodriguez. His last known address was 1516 Center Avenue. He is 61 years of age. He had previously been charged on September 19th with the murder of Junior Cabrera-Colon, and that seemed to be the start of the story, when in fact that murder actually took place after the murders which were charged this morning took place. So he has been incarcerated at Berks County Jail since September 19th, 2025. During the investigation of the murder, it was determined that a female by the name of Geraldina Peguero-Mancebo and her 1-year-old son, Jeyden Junior Peguero, had been missing. So while the Reading Police Department initially was involved in the investigation of the murder of Junior Cabrera-Colon, simultaneously, they were also involved in investigating as a result of a tip that they received for a welfare check that Geraldina Peguero-Mancebo and Jeyden had not been seen and were missing. So all of these investigations were in many respects taking place at the same time. It was determined early on by the Reading police detectives and phone records that they were able to gather that her phone had been stationary in the area of East Huller Lane in Ontalani Township. Now that is an area that we will describe in some respects as near the Walmart in Muhlenberg Township. As a result of the fact that she had not been found, the cell phone records kind of indicated that things stopped in that area. As a result, the Reading Police Department then went to that area and discovered Geraldina's body on an access road off of East Huller Lane. However, at that time, her 1-year-old son was not found. Additional investigation indicated that Geraldina and Jeyden had entered a car, which was later determined to be the car of the defendant, Jose Luis Rodriguez. During an interview with the defendant admitted to having some sort of relationship with Geraldina. The defendant admitted that on Friday, September 12th, 2025, that he had picked up Geraldina and Jeyden, and that it was his intention to drive to the area of East Huller Lane to kill Geraldina because she did not want to leave her husband, Junior Cabrera-Colon, that was the body that was found in Bear Park in the city of Reading. The defendant indicated to detectives that he was infuriated because he said that Geraldina was taking his money, and he admitted that he shot Geraldina in the back of the head in the area of Huller Lane in Ontalani Township. The defendant then took Jeyden down the street and threw him in a lake close to where Geraldina had been killed. The defendant confirmed that Jeyden was alive when he threw him face down in the muddy water. Now, I've referred to that as a lake. I think it's better referred to as a pond, an area of some water. It's nothing deep or anything like that. The defendant admitted that he did everything by himself and then no one else took part in it. On Saturday, September 20th, 2025, Jeyden's body was found approximately 150 yards west of where Geraldina had been found the day before. He was partially submerged in thick mud and water in an algae-covered stagnant body of water. It's approximately 10 to 15 feet from the shoreline. On Monday, the following Monday, or that Monday, Berks County detectives met with the defendant again, and he agreed, and he showed the detectives where he put Geraldina's purse and cell phone, as well as the gun he had used to shoot her. That purse and cell phone were recovered in the 1500 block of North 5th Street. The gun that was used to shoot Geraldina was found underneath the rear porch steps of a home in the 1500 block of Center Avenue. Detectives have located that black 9mm semi-automatic handgun. That handgun was stolen most likely in June of this year. An autopsy indicated that Geraldina was shot in the skull, in the back of her skull. Her cause of death was a single gunshot wound. The autopsy for Jeyden, the 1-year-old child, indicated there was no sign of external trauma. Jeyden was alive at the time he was submerged into the water, and the autopsy revealed that there was mud in his lungs. The cause of death was determined to be freshwater drowning. After Geraldina and Jeyden were murdered, the defendant murdered Junior Cabrera-Colon. Now, his body was found by patrol officers for the city of Reading in the vicinity of Bear Park near the basketball courts. It was determined that Cabrera suffered, again, a gunshot to the back of his head. That is the investigation that started all of this, the finding of the body in Bear Park. But it was actually the last murder that he committed. The investigation by detectives with the Reading Police Department determined that Cabrera's body was dumped in Bear Park, and as a result of video, a car that was matching the description was then later found in the area of 1500 block of Pear Street. That vehicle was initially towed as a result of a parking violation. Investigators followed up when looking at the vehicle. When they saw blood inside, they saw blood in the front driver, front passenger, and rear driver's seat, and a spent shell casing could also be seen in the middle console. As a result, the Reading Police Department obtained a search warrant for that vehicle during this investigation. There were numerous interviews with the defendant and others. Those interviews, in those interviews, the defendant, Rodriguez, claimed that Cabrera argued with him about his involvement with Peguero-Mancebo, Geraldina Peguero-Mancebo, and a physical altercation took place in the 1500 block of Pear Street. Rodriguez told the police that during this altercation, a gun was knocked out of Cabrera's hand, and that Rodriguez picked up the gun and fired one shot at Cabrera, hitting him in the back of the head. Rodriguez admitted he put Cabrera's body into Cabrera's car and drove him to the park where he left his body. Now, we're still in the initial parts of the investigation. I would suggest most likely that his version is only partially accurate. This individual has now been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and abuse of corpse and associated charges. I don't think that any of us can imagine the tragedy that took place here and how horrific this crime was. The loss of life of these adults that were killed was unnecessary. The loss of life of that 1-year-old was cruel. It was horrible. This was an extremely difficult case. I just want to thank the Reading Police Department, the Berks County Detectives, the Northern Berks Regional Police Department for their thorough investigation. This horrific crime was solved as a result of just dedicated work of the detectives involved in this case as they pieced this together, and they worked as a team. And they should all receive a lot of credit for that. As a result, we promptly took this murderer off our streets, and we have an individual here who committed some atrocious acts that just are unimaginable. We have, will avail ourselves, or will allow you to obtain copies of the affidavits of probable cause and criminal complaints so you can review them. But I will tell you that we look forward to the prosecution of this defendant. We will be considering filing a notice to seek the death penalty. We have not made any final decision as we speak, but I can't imagine anything more horrifying than throwing that one-year-old child into that pond of water, and that child is left there to die. Thank you. Any questions?
I can see this is affecting you personally. I mean, how do you process this kind of lack of humanity in a case like this?
I don't think you can. You can't. I just was shocked. And, you know, unfortunately, in our jobs, we deal with bad things all the time. This is a different level. It's a different level. And in reflection, it just makes me want to cry. It's horrible. Defenseless one-year-old.
Did he say how long he had been planning the murders?
I don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know that. But we do know that through the entangled relationship that there was, that something must have caused this behavior, because Mr. Rodriguez had no prior criminal history. So something happened. We don't know when or why he intentionally killed these three people.
Is it fair to describe the relationship as a romantic relationship?
That is still part of our investigation.
You're not sure yet?
We are not sure. We know there was some sort of relationship, including the fact that Mr. Rodriguez had rented an apartment at the Lincoln Tower Apartments off of 5th Street for Peguero-Mancebo. But we don't know in depth the actual extent of this relationship. So I would hate to make a misstatement about that, but that will be part of our ongoing investigation to try to determine the relationship and what was involved. But no matter what, no one deserved to die.
Do you know how long they knew each other for? Approximately.
No, I don't. Off the top of my you mean Peguero-Mancebo, Geraldine, and the defendant?
The defendant, yeah.
I do not know how long that they knew each other. I can tell you over a year. That is certain, over a year, but I don't know exactly how long they knew each other.
Did they work together at Amazon?
We do believe that they met working at warehouses off of 61. And I think it was called Reveal. And, but I know that the defendant, Jose Rodriguez, was no longer working there. But that is one, we do know that they worked in the same warehouse off of Route 61 as you go north outside of the city. And most likely on Alani Township area also, or I'm not exactly sure which township, but north on 61 there's a number of warehouses, and they work together up there. However, Jose Rodriguez at the time of this homicide, we believe, was working at Bell and Evans, a chicken processing in the upper parts of Berks County.
In some of the paperwork, he described someone named Alex who used to work at that warehouse. Is that him? Was he talking about himself?
I think that was, Alex was, I don't know that we know exactly who Alex is. Alex was, I think the defendant was trying to blame it on Alex. That's what that Alex was. And Alex, I'm sure if Alex does exist, we'll determine who he was during our ongoing investigation. But, the defendant has made admissions to all three homicides. He has admitted what he did.
You could say he confessed all three?
Yes. He admitted that he threw that baby in the pond.
Did he have any assistance, though? I mean,
We at this point do not believe that anyone else may have been involved, but that's under investigation also. Was there a second person involved with the one of the homicides? We'll be looking into that. Excuse me, but at this point, Jose Rodriguez has been charged with all three murders. Yes, it's an ongoing investigation, and if we determine that someone else had some part of the murder, and I think if anyone had any part in any of the homicides, the only homicide would have been of Mr. Cabrera. But at this point, we have no additional information, but again, we'll be looking for. If there's any additional information that is provided to police, we will thoroughly investigate that and make a determination if anyone else was involved.
During the search of his property, did you find anything else that would have led you to believing that he did this alone, or he did it at all early on?
Search of what property?
His property? His home or anything?
Oh, the defendant's property?
Yes.
No. A lot of the evidence that we were able to uncover as a result of a search warrant was uncovered from that vehicle. And I do not believe that we executed a search warrant at his home. I may be mistaken, but nothing was found. Yeah, it was just the vehicle was our main focus.
Just to clarify, is that a photograph of the three victims?
Yes, that is the victim, Geraldine Peguero.
Can you cycle through those?
And yes, that is.
I could send you that.
Yeah, we will send you that.
Okay.
But that is the victim, Geraldine Peguero-Mancebo, 31 years of age.
Yes.
The baby, Jeyden Peguero, 1 year of age. And the other person depicted on that other photograph was the husband, Junior Cabrera-Colon, or the father of the victim.
And it was during questioning about the vehicle, when he was shown the picture of the vehicle, and he claimed he couldn't see the vehicle and didn't know if it was his or not. And is that how he was taken into custody?
Well, I mean, he gave statements that were inconsistent. And the police followed up those statements and provided and presented video evidence to him, which really led to the police being able to obtain the truth. Because he initially, as many times, defendants don't come into the police station and lay it all out. That rarely happens. But the police did a thorough job in obtaining video evidence throughout the city of Reading and also from some other locations. And that video evidence is going to be a large part of putting this case together. And I have to commend.
Prosecutors called his actions deliberate, cold, and monstrous. They announced their intent to pursue the death penalty, citing the brutal murder of a child and multiple victims. Rodriguez now sits behind bars at the Berks County Prison, awaiting trial, a man who destroyed an entire family over his own obsession and pride. In Reading, the memory of that family lingers. Neighbors still place flowers by the fence at Bear Park, where Junior's life ended. Others visit the field near Ontolani Township, where Geraldina and her baby were found, reminders of how quickly love and jealousy can turn deadly. A mother, a father, a baby, 3 innocent souls silenced by one man's rage. This is the story of Geraldina Peguero-Mancebo, Junior Cabrera-Colon, and baby Jeyden Junior Peguero, and how one man's obsession became one of Pennsylvania's most heartbreaking crimes. May their soul continue to rest in peace.